What's going on, guys? Phil here. Right now, I'm actually currently waiting on crews to arrive. Just as the title implies, we're actually live in two different locations. So right now, I'm here in Ecuador, and he's actually supposed to be right now out in Dubrovnik in Croatia. So right now, it's actually midnight there. Over here in Ecuador, it's actually 5 o'clock in Ecuador, so 6 o'clock Eastern time. So we're in a bunch of different time zones, and you might notice too, it's a different. There might be a little bit of an echo because I'm actually not in the same place that I'm usually filming, and this is probably one of the few times that you guys see me in front of the camera. But the show must go on. We do run into technical issues when we do run live. And on top of that, like I was describing before, because Cruz is in Croatia, that kind of puts us in a kind of difficult place sometimes technically as far as, trying to meet up. And, it's one thing to be in Eastern Standard Times and then me here in, 1 hour behind in Ecuador. That's not so difficult, right? But once we get into completely two different time zones, and on top of that, keep in mind too, guys, he also has work full time during the day. So, certain scenarios, we fall into those types of things. That's kind of like the reality of when shows go live is that certain occurrences, things just kind of happen, and we have to adapt to the changes when they do occur. Although we don't want too many surprises all the time, right? Because in those types of circumstances, it can make things kind of difficult, moving forward. But it is what it is. And right now, as an adjustment, one of the things that I wanted to do, talk with Cruz about is his experience with traveling from the U.S. to Ecuador. Excuse me, from the U.S. to Croatia, and we talked about that briefly. But oh, he's on the phone right now. Hold on a second. Hello. Hello. Oh, that's fine. All right, don't worry. I'm running. I'm actually on right now. It's live, and I was just explaining that there's sometimes some technical difficulties with connecting and stuff like that. So great segue that you called up because this is one of the few times people get to actually see my face on camera. So yeah, yeah. And I don't. Can you hear the echo? I'm actually in a completely different place. I'm not even in the apartment now. I'm in a completely different location. So the room's bigger, the ceilings are higher, and it's definitely more echoey than usual. So it is what it is. And you're definitely gonna have to talk about your experience with your flight because that's I think a definitely interesting one. With a COVID test, how easy it was. I apologize. I apologize. I didn't get a hold of you because this whole weekend I've been in and out of the apartment in this new location. So it was, every now and then I check my messages, but I've been working on, work, doing stuff over here, bringing stuff from the apartment to this location. So it was a little bit hectic going back and forth, and the whole weekend has been extremely busy. And I'm sure you too. I mean, All right, so let me update the audience here. So right now, Cruz is trying to connect to the internet with his laptop, and he's just described to me that he might connect on his phone. And so as we work through kind of the technical issues, I'll keep you guys posted. Yeah, I think probably the best idea is just to connect with the phone. On top of that, it's more mobile, so might be a good idea to be able to you know give people a tour of where you're at and things like that. You don't have to obviously give specifics. All right, cool. All right, all right, guys. That's every now and then, like I was saying, we ran into some technical issues. So the conversation that we were having, if you guys did not hear through the microphone that I'm using on the laptop, is that they're having issues, I guess, with the router. So they're going to try to reset the router. But in the meantime, Cruz is also going to try to connect via his mobile. So you're going to see, the chime in from him joining the Google Meet, and then hopefully we'll get things started. Very curious to see what it's like out there. I've never been to Europe, and this is quite a surprise for us. I think it's very exciting. He's getting that opportunity where he's doing the whole digital nomad thing. I hate saying those types of cliches, and I've said that before on numerous occasions, but it is kind of what it is. He has the opportunity to be able to travel out there, and then with that, we also have the situation where when we do a live show, we can encounter some of these issues that happens, and there's like checks and balances when it comes down to doing live shows. When you're doing a live show, one of the main issues that really comes about is first the technical issues. The next part is scheduling, and then obviously because it's live and certain times, certain ideas or concepts pop up. You always come up with new ideas or new concepts, and then sometimes you might go off the rails a little bit, but that's okay, right? That's kind of the beauty of the things that are live. So again, with the checks and balances with doing productions live and then doing productions that are pre-recorded, you obviously get the benefits of being able to edit and plan stuff a little bit more or you have everything pre set up for the production, and then you can make changes along the way because it was pre-recorded. Whereas when you're doing stuff live, everything has to be prepared early on. And because Cruz and I, especially Cruz now, he's going to be on the move quite a bit while he's out in Croatia. We're going to encounter a few hiccups here and there, but if you just kind of bear with us, or even if you guys have any comments or have any experience with running into technical issues while traveling, feel free to drop a line because you know that's actually a really good point when you're traveling. I know a lot of Americans like to complain about issues with the internet and things like that, and it's not that fast. Believe it or not, it's actually pretty fast out there. And actually, the internet here is pretty fast too in Ecuador. There's two different services that they have. One of them is CNET, and the other one is NetLife, at least in the area that I'm in. I don't know if there's any other services that are provided, but from uh, from my experience with the internet here, as long as obviously you get a larger bandwidth, that gives you the ability to connect to the internet pretty well. Now, because a lot of places have been doing work virtually in very similar fashion, like in the US and other parts of the world, there are certain times during the course of the day where the internet bandwidth is being taken up by a lot more people, especially when kids are in school. Now, out here in the coast where I'm at, Santa Elena, or near the coast, their school schedules much different from what we know about in the U.S., which takes place mostly during the day. Where here, they use the same facilities, from my understanding, so that the younger children have class during the course of earlier in the day, and then during the afternoon, the older kids, and I don't know what the age range is, But during those times, there's some fluctuations of the internet service dropping in and out every now and then. But again, those are things that that happen even in the U.S. as well. So we do encounter those types of issues, but it's something to bear in mind when you travel out there. The main thing is really like the bandwidth that you can get from an internet service, and for the most part, you can get some relatively decent service wherever you go. I know that I've done several Airbnbs. The one that I stayed at in Ecuador was being shared by people that actually lived in the Airbnb, along with you myself using the equipment. When I was out there in Quito previously last year, the it was sufficient enough to get certain of the things that I was doing, because it was just emails every now and then, obviously watch YouTube videos, things like that. And Cruz is going to be jumping on, so I'm going to push the button here. Go on, Cruz. All right.
Oh, yeah, yeah, hey. Yeah, sorry about that, unfortunately. Yeah. If you leave for a little while, then we haven't had any issues. It was good. It's actually
Oh, little choppy. It's a little choppy there. All right, he's frozen in time with a new beard cut there. So if you guys that are out there, if you have any comments in regards to being able to travel and things like that, let me know. We're gonna try to get through some of the technical issues that we're dealing with. So again, there's a combination of things going on. I have a bunch of windows open. I don't know, Cruz. I don't know if you've heard any of the stuff that I was just saying a moment ago, but the screen froze.
no. I froze up again a sec. Yeah. Of course. Which is like it was great all day, and then all of a sudden, right now, which is good. I mean, overall, um, got through the workday and everything.
Yeah.
But no, honestly, the internet, everything's been phenomenal. Stuff's been really, really good.
Nice.
It
Nice.
just happened to be like we left for a while, we went out, came back, and stuff was asleep, and like it just cut out. So we just rebooted the router. Everything's fine, normal, just like you do at home. Uh, but yeah, welcome to Croatia. Welcome to Dubrovnik.
Yeah, I mean, this
So
is this is really cool. I mean, I knew that going into it, because this is the
it's
first
late.
this is the first time that we, besides doing doing
It's
the
late
Denver
here.
thing,
So
right?
oh
Besides
yeah,
doing the Denver thing, it was like we're a lot more familiar with the infrastructure out there in uh, in the U.S. But when you get out, what I was describing is once we get out to different countries, you know, equipment's not going to work the same as they would in the US, or like out here in Ecuador. Somehow the Wi-Fi strength from the router is not, or the antennas is not as robust, because like I can be in the US and I could be 50 feet, 50, 60 feet from the antenna and still get a signal. Whereas like out here in Ecuador, and it might be a combination because most of the houses are concrete, there's a lot of metal structure inside the concrete there, that it's blocking some of the waves. So
yeah.
and the equipment themselves could also be very different. So it's
So
something to bear in mind.
So I don't know if you can hear it, but do you actually hear? So first of all, so I'm in. I'll tell you where I am. Welcome everybody. Whatever. We're in Croatia, Dubrovnik, just outside. If you Google it, there's the old town, which is like the castle. It's Game of Thrones. It's King's Landing. It's like the UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's honestly it's drop dead gorgeous. And while like I love there being people around, especially to like go out and do stuff and everything, there's very few people here right now. So when you would normally be walking around the city there in that old town, especially where you have like cruise ships all dropping people off for day trips and everything, here usually it is quiet. Like you're walking around, there's really almost nobody around. You're just walking like literally like you would have seen in Game of, you're just walking the streets like by yourself. It's quiet, it's gorgeous, absolutely breathtaking, beautiful. Can't say enough about it. It's unbelievable. Just walking the stairways up and everything. I'll put some pictures. We'll post up some pictures and stuff about the location so that way you guys can see it. But out here, if you're thinking about taking a trip, if you're stuck at home and you want to get out for a little while, I absolutely recommend it. It's you got to do your test. You got to do a 48-hour test to get out here. But coming in, no issue. They check your test. Mine was on my phone. I didn't even have it printed because I had to leave before I even got my test, just because of the timeline and everything. You know, it's really difficult when most travel is at least 14 hours to get out here. So how do you take a test before you leave with the timing with the 48 hours when you have to take a sample, either mail it, send it, whatever you have to do. So I had to fly before I had my test. So that was a little, I'm not gonna lie, that was a little nerve-wracking. We had a little bit of an incident looking over at Pat over there, which came with, because he messaged me how they weren't going to let him on Air France. Because like landing in Paris, you have to have a test before you go. I flew British Airways. If you're looking at anything, the way things are right now, and you got to do the 48 hours, if you're looking at anything, don't fly through France. It's going to be an issue. Don't fly through any of the EU countries, because you need tests at least to even go through with the 72 hours.
Wow.
But
Okay.
the 72 hours don't cover you for the 48 hours you need in Croatia. So you fly, like, make sure your layover is somewhere else. Don't fly through the EU unless you know somebody, or you're an exempt person because of nursing or whatever, and you can get that test guaranteed in one day by just going locally and getting it. Otherwise, you might have an issue. Like, he got by just barely lucky. He got stopped by one person. The flight's taken off in like 5 minutes. He talked to some other lady and explained, like, listen, my test is going to be here, I swear. And she's like, just come with me. And all of a sudden, so he texts me this. His first statement is, I'm already in London. I've already been in London for like 10 hours on my layover. He texts me, hey, Air France is stopping me. I'm not going to be able to get on the plane. Okay. Nothing we can do. And then he's saying, all of a sudden I got the next message back and like saying, hey, I'm on. So I was like, okay, like, let's go. I'll call up the consultants. You call the consultants. We'll try and make sure the tests are over. And it all worked out. But don't go through the EU right now to get to Croatia. Right now, especially with the additional lockdowns coming in, if you want to go through, wait for a British Airlines flight, go through the UK for your connector over to Croatia, which is mainly British Airways. British Airways is going to have the best prices and the best routes and everything. Right now, they're still a lot more limited, but they're still the best overall for connecting over. So go British Airways if you're coming from the US to Croatia. Not even a question.
Yeah, so I think it might be be helpful too to talk about the process of of you doing your test, maybe describing what test, where you took your test and things like that. If
Yeah,
someone, if
absolutely.
and then again, I have to apologize to Cruz because he was contacting me over the weekend, but Sophia and I were moving over the course of the weekend.
That's okay.
So
Don't talk about what I texted
you. We were moving furniture all weekend, going on errands, and it was really hectic. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on right
I
now.
texted him asking for something not great. Don't worry about it.
Well,
But
let's just say it was very hectic. It was, I was experiencing some hectic stuff. He was experiencing some hectic stuff, and it's along the lines of being in transit, getting into Croatia. But yeah,
it is, yeah.
why don't you talk about your experience with the test, what what kind of tests you did and things like that, and what was the
Yeah.
process
So yeah,
securing
absolutely. The
your
test for
trip to
getting
Croatia?
in. So the test for getting in is, your most accepted test, the one that basically everybody is looking for, which is the PCR nasal swab. So they have the PCR spit cup and they have the PCR nasal swab now. They're not taking the spit cup. You need to do a PCR nasal swab. They didn't care. The test actually didn't even say that it was self-administered, but mine was self-administered because I had the kit shipped to me. I administered it. I sent it back. The company that I use is a company called COVID Consultants. They're based out of Colorado, based on the packaging and everything. They're doing their testing out of Texas. And I can't give enough credit to COVID consultants and everything. I was absolutely freaking out. I called them a couple times. Allie was unbelievable. She was like, listen, I guarantee it'll be there. I guarantee it'll be there. I know you just called me 5 times, but trust me, I guarantee it'll be there. I called her. She's like, you know what? I just got all the tests. Like, I just got all of them. I'm going to look through them. I'm going to find yours first because I know you're sitting in the airport. This is London time, 2 in the morning, because I can't sleep because I'm freaking out about this test. And back, over in Colorado, probably 7, 8. She's been there all day. She goes through the tests, finds mine, and ends up sending it over in another about 10, 15 minutes for me. Thankfully, it was negative, which was great because I didn't know. I assumed I was negative. I was feeling fine, but you never know. It was negative. I got it, and everything was awesome. I caught a couple hours of sleep there at the UK airport. But just once again, to reiterate, coming in, you need, from the time that you take it and it's tested, within 48 hours as you land and go through customs, a PCR nasal swab COVID negative test in order to get into Croatia. You're allowed to enter Croatia and self-quarantine for 14 days with taking a test here. So you could follow up, you could come into the country, you could stay at one place for 14 days. You better show where you're staying for 14 days in self-isolation. And then you're gonna have to follow up with a test. It's gonna be a ton more follow-up. And now you're dealing with, what do I do? Do I even go out? Or are they actually gonna follow up? I think that the answer is probably no. They're probably really not. But then my follow-up question is, do you really want to go against the customs policies in a foreign country? It's not a great idea. So show up with your test, get it as quick as you can. It's going to be different area to area. The Boston, Rhode Island area, it was a little tight on being able to get tests within that amount of time. So I had to go outside of it and get the one mailed to me with the Saturday crossing from COVID consultants. And they were phenomenal, 5 stars. They did an amazing job. Allie was unbelievable. Getting that over for me and just being there every time that I called just to answer those questions and everything. Actually going through customs was a breeze. They didn't ask for where I was staying. They didn't, I guess when Pat went through, they asked him a few little questions, but nothing major. They asked me what cities I was going to. Dubrovnik, Split. They said, okay. They didn't ask me how long. Said, you have your PCR test. I showed it to them on the phone because I got it when I'm in the airport. So how am I going to print this now? Can't print it. So I opened it. She opened it. She expanded it. She took a picture of it with her phone. So I guess she can save it and send it to wherever it needs to be for long-term processing. She said, okay, have a nice day. Stamp. Go on about your business. You're over here. Good luck. And it's been great. Yeah, that was about it. So I highly recommend. It was easy. It was great.
Yeah, and I think the important thing here is that when traveling right now, with the whole beer bug going on, it's just kind of more important to be as prepared as possible, right? But there's certain things that that we're not going to know until we actually go through the process. But taking care of all the testing and things like that, while a lot of places already do provide testing at the airport, like even here in Ecuador, like, oh yeah, you can take a test here, but why would I want to go through a process
Dubrovnik, there was no test at the airport.
Oh, see that? Okay, see, I don't know that.
That was a tiny airport. I landed. There was like 2 or 3 custom agencies behind glass. I walked out through that door, and that was the end of the airport. I don't know where the rest of the airport was. Yeah, there was just nothing. Like there's Dubrovnik is not a big airport. There is nothing there at all, at all. So don't fly into if you get into Zagreb, the capital or something. Maybe they have a little more and everything, of course. But if you fly into Dubrovnik, don't expect anything at all. And little tip, if you don't have anything, Uber works here. Uber works here just fine. It was about 30 or so US dollars for an Uber to the downtown area from the airport, maybe about 15, 20 minutes. We had a wicked great Uber driver. He recommended us we were starving, recommended us a little cheap eat spot in the old town area. Had a little octopus burger, had a little shrimp burger. It was delicious. Bada. Yeah. It was great. So overall, getting around, Uber's been real good here. If anybody's wondering, of course, You know, if you got to have an international plan in order to use the Uber, or get your Uber from a Wi-Fi connect, and then remember what it said. You walk away from every place in all in the Old Town area. Every place has Wi-Fi. You just get the password, you connect. I was making a joke earlier that like I would make a full listing posting where you can just set up and connect to every single Wi-Fi. So as you walk through the whole downtown area, they just keep switching between them. So you have Wi-Fi the whole way that you walk through the whole thing.
That'd be a great idea. That's a
Yo,
good
if you
idea.
posted, I'm not gonna lie, if you posted that whole list on Reddit, like, listen, these are all the passwords. You connect to all these, you have Wi-Fi the whole way through the old town. That would be a great post. Um, so,
Well,
but
that's
overall,
that's really good. I mean, I think if anyone has any comments or questions, feel free to drop a line. Again, we're here live. We're here to help you guys if you guys are interested in the whole travel thing. I think it's really exciting that Cruz is able to go out there and and get some traveling done. And if you guys heard, if you guys were on just a little bit earlier, he was talking about that he had to do a little bit of work early on, and right now it's around 12:30 p.m. Eastern time, so completely different time zone.
yeah, it is.
Um,
It's late.
and so so if you guys have questions, and I'm sure we're gonna have some more interesting live events as the time passes while Cruz is out there in
Oh,
Croatia.
definitely.
So
Yeah, it's been awesome. Like I said, I mean, if we get a chance, maybe we'll that little snippet where we talk about just how to get it. Maybe we clip that or something just to post for people, because people are interested. I know that they're interested because Pat, the one that I'm traveling and everything, he posted a picture of like just a view on like Reddit has a digital nomads thread. A lot of users in there. He posted a view there. I posted a picture of, you can, I mean, I guarantee you can find it. It's got to be like one of the top trending posts right now. There was a video of the waves and everything outside of our place. What are you at? So he's yelling over to me. And if you're familiar with Reddit, he's yelling over to me at 1.4, meaning he's got 1.4 thousand likes on this post on Reddit.
wow, nice.
That's
And
not like, if you're familiar with Reddit, that's a pretty fucking that's a pretty I almost dropped it. It's a little late. It's a pretty sizable. That's a pretty sizable amount of likes. How many comments are you up to? You got to be up at like 150 to 200 by now. 123. 123. All right, slow down a little bit. But and then most of the comments and stuff, people are wondering how. Like that's the biggest question. Like they go how. Like how are you there right now? Whether it's how because of your job or how because of how did you get in the country. We're in the United States. All of our media just says like you're locked down, you can't go anywhere. UK is locking down, Spain just locked down, everybody's locking down. Okay, that's not the case. You can get out. You take your PCR test. You get it in time. You schedule your flight. Like I said, don't fly through the EU right now. EU is locked up. UK is still open to US. They don't mess around with you. Little known, the UK is never locked down for the US this entire time. You've been able to fly to the UK with a 14-day quarantine. Even with the additional lockdowns, it's still the exact same. UK is still just a 14-day quarantine if you land in the UK. You can travel through the UK to these other places. Check out British Airways. They're the biggest airline. They're going to have your best prices on it.
yeah, and I can't iterate enough. I mean, flights right now are exorbitantly cheap to go to places.
The places to stay are exorbitantly cheap too.
Yeah.
So especially it's a little off season here and everything too. But this spot, I don't know if you hear that background noise. Do you hear that kind of like kush kush background noise at all?
Kush, no. Okay.
No? Okay. I had it earlier on when I was on some of my calls earlier. But the sound, like our spot is like right outside of the walls of Old Town,
Mm.
which is like your central spot in Dubrovnik, the absolute central spot. We're in the Old Town, like a 3-minute walk, only because you have to go through these absolutely gorgeous brick stone lined streets zigzagging through from where we're staying to get up and then go into the Old Town. Like if it was actually a straight shot and not this amazingly gorgeous walk over there, I'd be over there in like a minute. So we're in a prime location, and then right outside of our window here, like it's this little inlet with a beach that you can actually get in the water at. Like that's just crashing waves out of the window. So what he posted earlier on Reddit was just a video outside of the window of the like crashing waves, and he's like, oh, just view or whatever, and it's unbelievable. So this spot per night, so not even on like a month long stay, which is a lesser price and everything. Right now, split between two people is $61 a night
Yeah,
for
that's fantastic.
yeah, it's an unbelievable, and that's not going cheap. Like your cheaper spots that you can get were like $30 or $40 a night. Higher end, only because they were like completely over the top on some of the features and everything. I'm talking over the top. Number of beds, brand new marble, like crazy. I'm talking about you put a family of four there for in this unbelievable spot for $150 a night, like in the city. So you can really go on a vacation. Like staying at some of the major cities in the U.S. You can stay in Boston for a full hotel for $500 a night. It's not even that nice. Stay for 150 or less here for a whole place to yourself.
Yeah, and that's an Airbnb that you ended up
Yeah.
picking.
Yep.
Yeah,
Airbnb.
and we actually have a question from Tam Fam asking about what made you pick Croatia.
That was on the short list of places that were letting us in. One, and then two, it was always on the list. A place I wanted to see. I had just come across the fact of like I didn't know about a lot about it. Honestly, the way I like really came to know Croatia, from being honest, it was like the back. One of the pictures was like the backdrop of like my Windows like rotating screensaver that you see. So I logged. I was like, oh, this was probably like a year and a half or so ago. He was sitting there with this great picture. I clicked on it and I was like, oh, that place looks amazing. Click. And it was Dubrovnik, Croatia. And I was like, I got to get there sometime.
you,
Absolutely got to get there sometime. So
you know,
so it got on the list. And then this is a place that's letting us in. So I was like, okay, now's the time. Let's go.
yeah, what's funny is I do that too because like almost every day
Sometimes those,
there's a different picture. It's like, oh,
yeah,
that place
some
looks
of those pictures
interesting.
are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyone from Microsoft that's watching, those pictures work. Okay.
Yeah, well done.
Well
Well
done.
done.
Great
Yeah,
question.
there's a couple pictures from Vietnam. I want to go there now too as well.
Oh
Some great
man,
pictures.
and then the
Yeah.
food. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Oh boy, it's on the list. So the big thing that we've been looking at, and I don't have a great answer. We'll do a short when I figure some stuff out because we're going to be planning stuff in the future and everything. I know you're going to be planning some different stuff as well.
Mm.
Phil, for yourself, just based on your travel expectations and everything, is figuring out how to do some traveling by getting visas in a different country or something, and using that other visa to be able to get around. Because in my personal opinion, and everybody can take it what they want. My personal opinion is if you're negative, if you're negative for COVID, right? Yeah, I just took my test. I'm negative. I'm definitely negative. And say you're Croatia and you put in a 48-hour test so that you just had it. You had your 48-hour test and you're coming. I don't see why you can't travel into the country, right?
No,
So
I really think I feel like one of my goals personally, especially with with the Waypoint Cafe stuff, doing this stuff with you is to give people a lot more confidence about traveling and being able to kind of get the best of both worlds where yeah you can work outside the country if someone has that type of job where they can go out and travel and even with all the restrictions that are occurring right now, and I apologize for the background noise there if you can hear it, but um it's other than getting familiarized with some of the rules and things like that, prior to traveling, it's not that hard. And acquiring a visa after going through my my first round of getting my visa for Ecuador, it's
mhm,
once you have it, it's in their system, and then I don't want to say that they're relaxed about it, but countries want people to come in, you know,
they do, they
and
do.
it's a good thing when you're seeing people, going to these places because it's spurring the economy in the
Hmm.
area. And obviously it's like everyone's feeling the same pain that they're experiencing in the U.S. We're just because people are experiencing things in the U.S. doesn't mean that other countries aren't. And the thing is, some places are experiencing it worse. So being having confidence about being able to travel and acquiring the necessary documents, visas, and things like that, it's not that hard. There's like here, it's a little bit more. It's not as well developed as far as getting the documentation going, but people will help with getting that process through. Like,
Yeah.
and that's I think that's one of the things that I really want to point out to people that
If you have
wherever
your documents, yeah, like you were saying, like if you have your documents and your order and everything, like they're not giving you grief at the border and everything. They're letting you go through. Croatia's pretty open. They've had low test counts. You throw your mask on for like the Uber, just because that's like the Uber rule, and then public transportation you're supposed to mask. Uh, but generally speaking, even with all the tourists and stuff, like their counts have been really low overall, so they've stayed open. Um, they reduced the bars and everything to midnight because of a spike that they had. I talked to some locals about it. They had a spike in Split and some of the other places that have a lot of nightclubs. They had a
Mm.
spike going back to other countries. So they were saying, "Oh, where were you?" When these people came back and tested, and they were like, "Oh, well, I was here. I was out with this club or whatever this going on," and which I completely understand. So, like we're gonna go out a little bit, where we can. Um, so they reduced it down to 12. But then there's still some other places that are open. If you're serving food, any type of food at all, you even as long as you just have it, you can be open later than 12. So you can be open till 2 or anything. So there's this weird thing like whatever. And we're talking to a local at a place, and she's awesome, cool. We actually run into her a few times out. It's because she works in downtown. She's a great girl. Her brother owns this one spot that's in downtown. It's a family place. It's awesome. She's like, yeah, like food stops Corona. So if you serve food, you can stay open after 12. Like, well, yeah, it's kind of what their rule says. It's a little, so of course it's a conceptual thing that if you're serving food, you're obviously probably less of a complete mingling spot if you're just serving booze. So I get the concept, but it's a little funny at the same time, if you take a step back and look at it. But you should still have confidence in coming out. If you want to be able to distance here and you want to come, trust me. This is what they've said is that the summertime was about half the number of people. The little shoulder season, which was September, was about half. And now this October, which is usually shoulder season, is actually like the winter time here, which means there's nobody here. It's really quiet. You can get great prices. You can see everything, go around, do amazing stuff, get the full experience. Um, talk to some people that are still working here, really have a time. There is a thing here, it's like more of a European thing. There is like, it's called like a Croatian minute. Like you may think that something's going to be really quick. It's not that quick. Like there's not. So you know what I'm talking about, Phil, with that, with
Oh man.
Ecuador and everything. Yeah, the Croatian minute. Like if you want your check or something, like go find it. Go find and ask for that check. So like to run back here, like if I'm being honest, like I had a little issue connecting. Like I didn't show up here when I got back with a lot of time because we were out. I went out. Let's go grab some food. We had a beer, chatted with some people, met some other people from the hostel. It's great. It's a small crowd, but the people that are out are super friendly. Everybody that's out right now is out, super friendly, amazing, good vibe. Um, I didn't get myself a ton of time running back here because uh, we were out there, going around having a good time, enjoying and seeing people and everything. So if you want to distance, you can absolutely distance easily,
Mm.
but you can definitely still track down those small pockets of people that are still doing stuff. And Dubrovnik's a little odd because it's a real pricey tourist area, the old town. So like,
Mm.
and it's a tiny city overall. Like the city is really the old town area. The overall city is tiny, tiny, tiny. It's really just about the old town. It's just about like the tourism and people coming and seeing that. When we get up to Split, which is a lot bigger of like an actual city, you're gonna have a lot more people that live there, that are Croatian and live there. So we're gonna see what the kind of that vibe is like. And we're gonna be there next time we talk. We'll actually be up in the Split area.
Now, what about the language? You said you spoke with several people out, that's out and about. Are they from the
They
U.S.
all
or from different
now
places?
English. Okay, so the people that we met, so everybody around for the Croatian, honestly, like I haven't picked up anything of Croatian. I said I was going to study. I didn't at all. I swear I'm going to like start immersing myself in everything. I'm trying to read signs and everything. And if I'm being honest, nothing's sticking yet. It's Croatian, the language, the syntax is really different. Like you have to put a little effort. You have to put some effort into it. Obviously, I already had a background in Spanish, of course. So like warming back up to that and picking any of that up is easy. Croatian is foreign, absolutely foreign, foreign, foreign. We were laughing. We were laughing earlier. What are the languages that stuff was in? We were laughing earlier.
Yeah.
We were trying to read the instant coffee. Okay, we're trying to make sure that this was instant coffee that we're buying. It was there was 4 languages on the back. Couldn't read any of them. There was Croatian, Slovakian, Albanian, and like Russian. Couldn't read a single of them, and they're all those hard. Couldn't understand a thing of them. Okay, they're all in the same thing. It's very difficult. It's not easy. My brain at this point is not as malleable as it used to be, if I'm being honest. Okay, it's a little rough. It's a little rough going. I know hello is alo, and that's it. That's all I got.
Like, so do you find it was difficult to get around with a language barrier, or?
No, everybody speaks English. Thank Jesus. Everybody else is saving me. I would be done. Okay, if you had it, it would be bad. Not everybody speaks English, and the people that we've met, one was a bunch of some people that were from Croatia, super nice. Run into the same spot. A couple Americans, guy
American?
from the UK. Yeah. A couple Americans. They've been here for about a month already. They're going to be here for another month.
Wow.
They've been just traveling. They've actually been all over. They're actually given us the idea of how we're going to get out of Dubrovnik to Split. So there's a little bit of an issue, which we could cover, or we can clip this or whatever. So traveling from Dubrovnik to Split, or Split back down to Dubrovnik. People mention it and everything. But right now, it's a bit of an issue because you have to go through Bosnia-Herzegovina. Bosnia-Herzegovina, the borders of Bosnia-Herzegovina, come across to the coast. They separate the set of land that Dubrovnik is on with a good chunk of the surrounding area from the mainland of Croatia. There's only 2 ways to get there. Of course, drive through Bosnia-Herzegovina or take a ferry through the water. You take a ferry through the water, which is easy to get during prime time. There's not as many ferries right now, and the ferries don't run if the weather at all, if the weather's bad. So it's a little bit of an issue, us right now, going by ferry over, which is what we want to do because we think that the ferry trip's going to be gorgeous. Taking it up to Split, it's like an hour or 2. If you go across, Bosnia-Herzegovina is not letting in U.S. citizens right now.
Really?
So, yeah.
Well, it's a good thing you got that tip. It's a good thing that you got that
you
tip
have
from
to.
the other.
Well, they drove through. They drove down in the car. So, like, when you hit the border, you say, like, listen, like, here's my stay. Like, I'm just traveling through. Like, I'm coming from Dubrovnik to Split. They were coming from Split to Dubrovnik. So they came down. They said, hey, we're coming from Split to Dubrovnik. They're 2 American girls. Like, they're like, oh, yeah, sure, you seem whatever. Just go through. You got an hour. We talked to the kid we talked to the kid that's French, who has like a van that he's kind of redone a little bit for traveling and everything. He started over in France. He's come around the whole coast, and he's come down. He's on like this epic trip. This is actually like his last day, and he's heading back to the Alps to start a job. They stopped him at the border, and he had to pay him off. Okay, so that is 2 wildly different experiences. Okay, so you can get on a public transportation bus. I think I would be pretty safe on the bus, but you're going to be on the bus. I think we're gonna rent a car and try it ourselves. Okay, so
well, make sure you record it. You got to make sure you record kind of.
That is the last thing I'm going to be doing as I'm going across the Bosnian border is recording them as I try and go. That is absolutely the last thing I'm going to do. That's after we I wanted this clipped after we go through this. Don't do that. Okay, I'll let you know what
But,
comes of this, but
or
I'm
before,
recommending
or before or after.
attempting
Do like a before or after recording or
right before.
something.
Okay, I'll record right before we hit the border. Like, okay, we're still not incarcerated in Bosnia Herzegovina. Okay, so let's see how it goes. We have to cross that border. It's um I think it'll be fine. I think the worst they would do is give us a hard time as being Americans. I don't think they're gonna like try and hold you for sneaking into the country or anything, overall. I mean, they could. I don't think that's really their style though, right? They got other stuff to worry about than like two people that they blatantly know are tourists. Are like, hey, look, here's my passport. I'm traveling across. You know that this is the only way I can get from here to there.
Yeah.
It's not an uncommon thing. But yeah, they searched the kid. They shook him down a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we're planning on renting a car one way and going. And then at the end of the trip, we got to come back. So that's going to be a little bit of an adventure. If I'm being honest, it's a little dicey on the overall setup. But yeah, we'll see how that one goes.
Well, like I was saying before, this is, I think one of the goals of what we're doing here is to help people who are watching, to
Yeah,
help build confidence for them for traveling. So if
that's probably not a great pitch then. Overall, normally it would be fine. It's just because they're only giving you grief because of the COVID, because they're not letting people in.
yeah,
So
no, but I mean, like, before they even consider traveling, right? Um, you're going out there being the guinea pig to test to test out to see
oh yeah,
if it's
yeah,
safe, or what your experience is and what your observations are. Very much the same way that I'm out here in Ecuador and I can tell you it's safe. You know, so it's one of those things. It's just like yeah, there's a few hurdles along the way. Especially with Croatia and Bosnia, having borders that are so close together and one that actually cuts it in half. Uh, it's good to let
yeah.
people know.
Keep talking about that. Give me 1 sec. I'll be right back. Apologies. Hold on. Just 1 sec.
Uh, yeah, so that's one of those things, guys, where with Cruz being out there, and I've never been to Europe, so this is going to actually help me out once I make my way to Europe in the future, right? Where I want to get a better idea about what's going on, and being able to anticipate any of the any of the situations that occur when you're traveling out there. So it's important to. I think this stuff is very important for anyone that's wanting to travel. And one of the great things about traveling right now is that you do get to meet other people who are traveling under different circumstances. And the video cut out.
Hollow. It's my only word. Welcome back. What's going on? Sorry about that.
The video cut out actually.
Oh, good.
Oh
Nice.
wait, no,
I
it
was
cut
back
out,
and I'm
but
back
it
too.
it cut out, but it didn't cut out. Hold on, I'm still.
So
All right, we'll we'll,
yeah,
we'll, we'll keep it
is
going.
yeah, we'll keep it definitely in long. This is the long form and everything. I know we always keep talking about Phil doing some short clips. I think some of these clips and everything in the future we might be able to do some just short little recorded clips, and like I'll go over some stuff in like a 5-10 minute stretch. No editing, no nothing, just like a one single go that talks about drives the stuff, and we'll just put it up as just like hey, how to get in Croatia. Because based on some of the feedback and stuff, people are wondering how, even though you can go on and search and figure it out. I don't know if it's, I don't know for you, because obviously you're a little different than I am as well. I don't know if people just feel that they can't travel based on like whatever the media and different things are saying. But there's definitely a feel out there that like people can't leave the country, like there's nowhere else to go. And that's not true.
Yeah, actually, late September. Um, guess what place just opened up?
I'm actually really interested now because
Take a
Go ahead.
while. Take a wild
I
guess.
don't know. Go.
Just take a wild guess. What place just
Colombia.
opened? Colombia just opened up for the
Col-
U.S.
Col- Yo, Pat. Late September. Colombia apparently just opened to the U.S.
No way.
That's Phil's saying. Phil's he's on top of it. He's down in Ecuador. Colombia is apparently now open to the U.S. So remember, after we go somewhere, we were looking for someplace warm for the winter time.
Same Eastern time too.
Same Eastern time. Are you googling this right? Yeah, Google. He's googling this right now.
Right.
So
Yeah, fact checking.
because we're looking for a place. We're just quick fact check. Quick fact check. Would your quick fact check? Would your COVID policy have killed 200 million people? Fact check. Yes, it would have killed 200 million people. Okay. All right, let's get off the fact check. Let's go. So that's Casa and El Agua. Yes, please.
COVID test within 96 hours and you're
COVID test within 96 hours. He says that is easy.
Easy.
That's no issue. Casa El Agua emailed me like a month or two ago. And we're like, hey, do you want to pick up those dates? Because they didn't cancel it. They said just email them back. Sorry, we're getting completely sidetracked. Colombia. Are you still there? You're frozen, Phil.
Yeah, I'm there. Can you hear
Is
me?
it just a frozen face or you're actually there? Yeah, you're fine. Your face
All
isn't moving. It's bugging me out.
But same thing with me when you.
he's
your face
Googling,
is
so Colombia. Yeah. All right. Yeah. We'll do some research on this and post something about how to get into Colombia. That might be it. We'll talk after this this call about that.
So.
But we can definitely. I think you should get on your face too, and I'll do the thing and you should do your thing about how to get into Ecuador. We'll put up how to get in Ecuador. We'll put up how to get into Croatia. I think just a one single shot where we just go back and forth, a couple of quick questions, just in a small snip, so somebody can get on, jump, and just be like, listen, I'm here right now. This is the 10-minute clip of how to get in, exactly what I experienced. Come now and put it up. People want to know.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that we should definitely do for the future. But we do have a question from Tampa. How long are you in Croatia for?
Right now, I'm technically going to be here for about a little over a month, about 36 days. With the extra couple days when I left, I'll be gone for about 38, 39 days because I had to leave pretty early. As of right now, if we get an amazing place and we want to stick around for a little bit longer, the only thing I'm saying is that I'd like to be back just to see the family for the Thanksgiving time overall. Because I want to plan to head out again come maybe at Christmas, right around that stretch. So I'll definitely be gone for maybe an additional week or two or so. I'm here. I'll be being here for about 2 weeks solo. So that'll be a little interesting at the end as of right now, unless we find an amazing spot. And that's what, I'm going to stay extra to get that thing. I got to go back where I don't really need to and sticks it out, which I'm thinking there's a chance that happens.
Yeah, I mean, there's how many days can you stay in Croatia without a visa?
Croatia's long. It's minimum 90 days at least. I want to say it's actually closer to 6 months. Croatia's very long for how long they let you stay without a visa. The UK too. UK you can stay quite some time as well without a visa as a U.S. citizen. Croatia you can stay quite some time, and then then you have the Skonekta, I don't know how to pronounce it, which is basically 26 countries, the EU has the Skonekta visa, which you're only allowed to stay for 90 days out of every 180. So you can go into those countries. So if you're doing across Europe, which this is probably another thing that people probably wonder about that we could do a video about everything is. So if you're planning and you want to do Europe, you want to do month to month jumping around Europe, right? It's a big thing. And if you're trying to get a feel for a place and not jump around too much, get a better stay on Airbnbs, right? Your months. You have to pick 3 countries within those connected. There's a ton of countries, but pick your top 3. You stay there for those 90 days. Depending on which country and everything that you leave from, they're a lot tighter. They'll be you're 1 day over your 90 days. This is an issue. Or you're a week over, we don't really care. There's a chance. Don't really go over. Don't even take the chance because they will mark you as immigration violation. You will now have to go through the embassy to get into that country. So don't take that chance ever. leave after your 90 days. Just make sure you're out, unless like COVID happens. You get stuck, in which case you tell them like, you guys want to let me out and figure it out. But then you have to plan, you have to go somewhere else. So Croatia is one of those great options where people will do 3 months, come over, pop into Croatia because you can stay for 3 months easy, which now gets you back out of that 180. And now you have another 90 days back in the SCNEC countries, which is now you can do another 3, 4 countries over there. You can pop out to the UK, do 90 days there, and now you're back out. And now you can come for another. And that would put you on about a 1 year, 3 month stretch where you can pop all around, do about 9 to 10 or so countries there, along with a stretch in the UK and a stretch in Croatia. Pretty interesting stretch if you're trying to do like a long time backpacking, because I still haven't figured out a great way to get a visa for a really long term there around that issue. They just don't do them. Nobody really does them unless you get like crazy work visas and all this stuff, which sometimes you'd be borderline lying. Some of them do stuff with like digital nomads, which you have to be a complete freelancer, which I'm not a complete freelancer. So that wouldn't quite work.
Yeah, and well, it sounds like that you were planning to do that type of trip where you were jumping Croatia to England to a different European Union country. So it was, and
I was thinking about it. Yeah, I was looking into it a lot, trying to figure stuff out.
yeah, and I think that's one of the important things too about doing this whole, I can't stand saying the cliche thing, digital nomad, uh, lifestyle, is that, just wrapping the head around the schedules of the visa or the non-visa in staying in places. I mean, that's how I regulate my stay here in Ecuador. As much as I would like to stay a lot longer, being realistic, being able to come in at regular intervals and hopping into different countries, like it was really originally, a whole year plan to be able to travel consistently, and popping into different countries. And obviously, for me coming back and forth to Ecuador, but we're coming into the hour. Uh, we can take some last minute questions if anyone has any that's on right now. I think this was a really good conversation. Definitely thanks to Cruz over there. Putting in the late hour. and
Oh yeah, of
and,
course. Yeah,
and
yeah. No, I think we're gonna get some great. We're gonna be able to put together some great clips for people that want to figure some stuff out about getting over and the different spots and the different quick little hits about splitting different areas, because it's a beautiful area, beautiful. Love to get the stuff out and get people out here.
yeah. So with that being said, do you have any additional closing comments?
COVID consultants, if you're looking for a test, use them. They're a little pricier, but if you have to get one in a quick amount of time for like the Croatia, the 48-hour, they're the absolute go-to. Anything longer than that, 72.96, you can do somewhere else. If you need a 48-hour one, call them. They'll work with you. They'll give it to you. Absolutely do that. And if you're thinking about traveling, you're thinking about going somewhere, Croatia right now is a fantastic spot. You'll probably, once COVID goes away, you'll probably, unless you come like the dead of winter when you don't want to come here anyways, you will never get another chance over the next couple of weeks like you will now to see the area and see the city and everything without having to fight through people. Like you're getting to experience the whole place just pristine without tons of people all over the place. So it's a really unique experience that I'm really grateful for, thankful for the work and everything. So can't really make any complaints.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. And that's a wrap. Make sure to check in next week. Again, apologize for the technical issues that we were encountering early on, but we're going to try to work through some of this stuff. Unfortunately, like the reality is, we're both different places. We're doing this live. So that's just the reality of it.